All right, today we're going to be talking about how to negotiate real estate deals. And this can go for if you're buying your very first house or if you're a real estate investor buying your second, third, or fourth house. All of these tips will be useful for you today. We're going to be talking about three different things. And then if you stick around till the end, I will be talking about the number one tip when you're negotiating for real estate, or really any negotiation for that matter. So, the first thing that you need to realize is, what is the seller's motivation? So seller motivation is very important, and what you need to know whether or not this is an investment property is the seller's motivation. So do they need to sell, or do they have all the time in the world to sell that property and don't really care and can just sit around for the highest price? Now, if you're looking to get a really good deal for your purchase for your house, these type of people that can just wait around forever is really not what you're looking for. Now, if you're not looking for having any equity in the house or any investment potential, then hey, go ahead, don't worry about the seller's motivation. But if you want to get a good deal, you need to understand this part first. So very oftentimes, this is an emotional thing to talk to people about. This is sometimes the home that they grew up in. This is the home that their parents were in maybe. And this holds something more than just a business transaction for them. So if you can understand that, you can be a little bit more sensitive towards what they are trying to accomplish. The other part of seller motivation is trying to figure out for them what is the most acceptable offer that you can give them. So when we're talking about that, sometimes people don't need to get the most out of their property. Maybe they are trying to get their mother into a home and they just need some money to be able to pay for that initial year, or need to pay for a few years, and that's really all they're trying to get out of the house. Maybe they have a mortgage and you know that they have to get a certain amount. So if you are offering them $100,000 on the house, and there's no way they're going to take that, maybe because they already owe $110,000 on the house. So that'll be the minimum that they can even get out of the house. And so trying to figure out what that motivation for them is and what their most acceptable offer is going to be super important towards figuring out how you can get a good deal on these properties. Another portion of negotiating is figuring out all of the different terms. So there are almost unlimited terms when it comes to negotiating real estate. Some of those things are figuring out your closing costs. So what are your closing costs going to be? Who's going to pay for them? So is it going to be you as the buyer, or is it going to be the seller? Very oftentimes for closing costs, if you're able to wrap those closing costs into the purchase price of the house, it'll be cheaper for you in the long run, unless you just want to go out there and give up your cash instead of financing that. It can be a couple different options, so figuring that out for yourself. Another part of that is actually figuring out your financing, right? So sometimes people will want to figure out how they are going to be purchasing the house. So maybe they need speed. Maybe that's one part of the seller motivation, is they need to close this house fast. So if you have cash and you're able to purchase that house, that may be able to get a better discount on that house. Or maybe they don't want to have to deal with a bunch of different inspections. So maybe you can get a loan product or deal with a bank that you know is not going to deal with a bunch of inspections, such as maybe a VA loan would have for stipulations on the condition of the house and things like that. So negotiating that portion of it. The other portion of it is the earnest money. So maybe they really want you to have a high amount of earnest money that you put down in the house, so that they can be sure that you are an interested party and that you are not just going around putting a bunch of offers in. You're going to waste their time. So there's a number of different terms that you need to be considering. For this next part, this is for the offer. Now, this probably goes more towards the investor side of things. So what you want to do for the offer is you want to offer something that is simple and is summarized. So if you can do a simple summary of what you are going to offer, this will go a long way, especially if it's in writing. So you may have all these terms, closing costs, financings, earnest money, all these things in a 10-page document that is going to be yes, your legal document and you do need to sign one of those, but maybe initially that is going to be overwhelming. Very often people are going through a lot of different things and they just need you to cut to the chase and give them something simple. So offer a simple summary, one page in writing, what the entire terms and contingencies of your offer is going to be, and let them look that over before you go and you give them that 10-page real estate document where they have to sign a whole bunch of places and overwhelm them, and they just deny your offer because it looks too complicated and it's something that they're not used to. This can really go a long way towards your negotiations and be able to work through some of the things and figure out maybe what their motivation is and be able to figure out what is important to them for those different terms and those contingencies. So these can really not necessarily be in order, but they can go kind of hand in hand to figuring out how you can get the best deal and how they can get the best deal for buying that real estate. Now, there's a lot of different other terms that we could talk about and a lot of different things that are important for negotiating. Probably make another video with a little bit longer and talking about that. All right, so the number one tip in negotiating for real estate sometimes is to just shut up in your negotiations. You need to be a good listener to the concerns that the other person has in the deal. So a lot of times this can go a long way towards your negotiating. People just want to feel that they are being heard throughout the negotiation before you go in there and you try to just start with the price, start tackling all the different issues, all the different terms and contingencies that you want to get into or out of this real estate deal. So remember that these are people that you're dealing with, and sometimes you just need to be quiet and you just need to work on listening a little bit better. Be sure to subscribe and like our channel. Until next time.